operations progressed from roadkill to humans, but it didn't take long.
I had this reoccurring fantasy of meeting a hitchhiker on the road and of taking him hostage and doing what I wanted with him. And I never in my wildest nightmares thought that it would become a reality.
But in the summer of 1978, Dahmer came across a hitchhiker named Stephen Hicks and brought him home. The house was empty. Jeffrey's parents had recently divorced, and he was home alone with no one to stop him.
I wish I just kept on going, but I didn't. I turned around, picked him up, and that's when the nightmare became a reality.
What happened after you took him to the house?
We talked, had some drinks. I knocked him out, and that was the first time.
Was this about some kind of desire to keep these people with you, not to be abandoned, not to have them leave?
I think that did play into it, but there was a big element of wanting complete control over someone, total control, not having to consider their wishes, being able to keep them there as long as I wanted, and that was a big part of it. Lust played a big part of it, controlling lust.
Did you want to try to stop?
Yes, I tried. I tried to stop.
And the killing did stop for 6 years. But Jeffrey said in 1984, while living here at his grandmother's house in Milwaukee, his violent compulsion consumed him once again. One night, cruising these bars in downtown Milwaukee, he met a young man and took him to this hotel.
I had put some sleeping pills in his drink to render him unconscious. And was just going to spend the night with him. When I woke up in the morning, my forearms were bruised, and his chest was bruised, and blood was coming out of his mouth. He was hanging over the side of the bed, and I have no memory of beating him to death, but I must have. And that's when it all started again.
And once it started again, you found it impossible to stop.
Right, that's when the obsession went into full swing. My only objective was to find the best-looking guy that I could. I went to bathhouses, I went to bars, shopping malls. Their sexual preference didn't matter to me.
Did their race matter to you?
No, the race had nothing to do with it. It was just their looks.
Was there something sexual in the dismemberment of the bodies for you?
As time went on, yes, I did get there was a sexual part to that. I started saving the skeletons and preserving other parts. And one thing led to another. It took more and more deviant type behaviors to satisfy my urges, and so it just spiraled out of control.
Why the cannibalism?
That was another step. It made me feel like they were a permanent part of me. Besides the just mere curiosity of what it would be like, it made them feel that they were a part of me, and it gave me a sexual satisfaction to do that.
See that Jeff can do that. Lionel does that.
By the time this home video was shot on Thanksgiving Day 1990, the murder count was up to 9. But you'd hardly know it watching Jeffrey relax in his grandmother's living room, engaged in small talk, as if nothing much was happening in his life.
You're looking good. Grandma was saying that she thought that you got quite a bit thinner, but you look fit. I don't know.
Well, I've been surviving mostly on McDonald's food. It's just so much easier just to pop into the restaurant. But
Yeah,
Like I've said before, it gets too expensive, and
it does.
I have to start eating at home more.
I wish there was some way to completely get rid of the compulsive thoughts, the feelings.
So the thoughts still come to you?
Sometimes, yeah. I'll probably have to live with it for the rest of my life.
If the compulsions were inescapable, so too was the final realization that he would have to answer for his crimes.
If a person doesn't think that there is a God to be accountable to, then what's the point of trying to modify your behavior to keep it within acceptable ranges? That's how I thought, anyway. I always believed the theory of evolution is truth, that we all just came from the slime, and when we died, you know, that was it. There was nothing. And I've since come to believe that the Lord Jesus Christ is truly God, and I believe that I, as well as everyone else, will be accountable to him.
Investigators still have no motive in the killing of Jeffrey Dahmer. The main suspect is another inmate, a convicted murderer who was working with Dahmer at the time of his death.